Okay, so as we teased on the show earlier, there was what I think is a pretty significant orb sighting above the Capitol building last night. Now, part of this group that filmed this, it was a former director, program director at the National Science Foundation and founder at American DeepTech, Brady-Estevez. Chris Bledsoe was there, Intelligence Analyst Sarah Gamm. And the folks that did not want to be publicly sort of acknowledged, I asked Brady-Estevez exactly who the other people were, and she said, quote, these were high-level leaders in space, tech, energy, biotech, government, and they were there in a personal capacity, not there in any sort of official capacity, and folks involved with communications. These were people, as she noted, were people that have led interagency national level strategies in the United States government. There were deep technology and institutional investors, a farmer, observational scientist, and an MD and a PhD. So essentially what I'm saying is that these are not just some tourists off the street. These were folks that are scientists, PhDs, MDs, folks that work in the government, folks that I can say have worked the UAP issue as part of their portfolio. Yeah. Now, Estevez noted, she asked her to give us a description, and again she reached out probably around 9 p.m. last night when this whole group encountered these orbs, and she stated, quote, following a meeting with Congressional Representative Eric Burleson and Anna Paulina Luna, and it was a discussion about how to advance UAP disclosure. This group that we just showed you here, they went out on a walk by the People's House, the U.S. Capitol, in the hours before the congressional hearing. I think this was probably around 10:30 p.m. last night. The group was exercising, as she stated, their constitutional rights and freedoms, worship, speech, and peaceful assembly, when the orbs appeared over the Capitol. Apparently they were all kind of in group prayer, and poof. And the way she also went on saying that these orbs consistently showed up one after another. These orbs were circling, flying erratically. They appeared positive and non-threatening. She said it sort of reminded her of the 1952 UAP flap over the Capitol, and 2025 is taking the American people at liberty's house. She said there was tremendous optimism about the hearing today. Sarah Gamm noted, intelligence analyst, that the first video was taken at 10:16 p.m., but the activity had started prior. She stated that they were white in color, constantly appearing and then vanishing, only to appear again as it made large figure eights over and around the Capitol. There was also one that came out which was gold, yellow, orangish, that had a wide tail of light, the way that comets do in cartoons was the analysis that she used, where you could see a path of light all at one time. I've actually seen this myself at my home. One of these, I would describe it exactly the same way about a month and a half ago. And it was either Sarah or Anna said that they all exhibited fast, erratic movements. The lights were pulsing, coming in and out, which I've also seen as well. And oddly enough, Anna Brady-Estevez, as I pointed out earlier, stated that the thing that was the most interesting point is they were all involved in group prayer, and again, these things just appeared. And I want to emphasize again, these are people that have worked or continue to work in the government, in government science, national security, and intelligence. Estevez herself, she's managed the National Science Foundation's national space and energy commercial portfolios. And the thing I want to point out to you before we play this video is that no drones are allowed to fly over the White House or in Washington, D.C. over these federal buildings. And also another note too, they stated that that this activity lasted for about a period of 45 minutes. So it was, yeah, it was something else. So anyway, here we're going to play it.
Toward the tree.
Oh, there it is, there it is.
See it going toward the top of the 20 tree.
Oh, no, I can't see it.
We could call it over here across the street. See the double light right there?
Yeah. Virginia? Yeah. Is that far away that it's over Virginia?
It was about 6 foot down when it went behind it. And you'll make a circle and go back over. Especially this summer, yeah.
All right, see it right now? Yeah, I have it.
Look, it's going toward the tree. See it?
Yeah.
That's going to make a left turn and it's going back that way.
What color is it?
White.
It seems white.
It's like making a figure eight.
But it's far away. Now that
It's
light
just
turns.
staying elusive.
Okay, so this tree right in front of the Capitol is tree number 2. This is number 3.
Yeah.
Or let's make that tree 0, 1, 2.
Yeah, it's making big circles around it.
I lost it.
And they wouldn't be allowed to fly it.
It's going towards tree number 1 now, and it's going around. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, see
Wow,
it coming
yeah,
back
yeah,
over
look
the
at that.
top. Look at
Look
that.
at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Praise be to God. Wow.
Up there, you can see above the
That's
tree.
about the footprint.
Oh my gosh, it stopped.
Stop.
Now it's going again.
No, it's circling.
Yeah, it's circling. I saw the wrong. I was looking at the star. That was my bad.
Go up, you can get above the trees. But it's stopped. I just want to know, is that a drone over the White House?
No, it's not a drone, love. It's
Over
coming.
the White House?
Right? Where? No,
I've
that's
seen
not a
drones
drone.
above the White House. But I just don't know if they would go up that
No,
high.
drones, they don't, and they would have drones like
Oh,
that.
that's true. They have to have green and red lights
Right, yeah.
for aviation.
And they wouldn't be glowing like that.
Now, what I have here is I took the video, I slowed it down and put an embossing effect on it. So you'll see some of the dots on there are actual glare, lens flare into the camera, probably from the lights they're near. But it's pretty obvious when you look at the embossed images that, so like right at the top there, that was just lens flare that's bouncing around. But just above the tree, you'll see, and in the subsequent videos, these were 3 videos that were pasted together, that I pasted together. But with the embossing effect, you can see that these objects are perfectly circular. Now the little black dot there is an artifact of the embossing thing. But if you watch here, you'll see this thing faintly maneuver. It's going down towards along the edge of the tree, and then now it's moving off to the left. It's fading back in. Again, you can see it moving, and it's going to cut to another video here. So again, this is slowed down. The exposure is raised. And this had an embossing effect applied to it to make it, just make it easier to see. And let's see, I think this is the other part of it. So again, once looking at this thing, you see the circular nature of it. Looks like that there's another one. Yeah, there are actually 2 of them moving there. Then you see another one flash. And yeah, I mean, it's and again, this went on for near 45 minutes from what they explained, and they were standing right about where that photo was taken. And there again, you see it. It's sort of floating around. But I think what is interesting about this footage is you see the thing maneuver, and especially if it were a small drone off at that distance, I don't see how it could maneuver with that kind of speed and change in direction. I wouldn't say it's near instantaneous velocity, the one where you see it kind of go by the tree. But yeah, I'm going to turn this down a little bit.
Going toward the top of the 20 tree.
Oh, no, I can't see it.
We could call it over here across the street. See the double light right there?
Yeah. Virginia?
And again, these are folks that work in the government, have worked in the government. You have an image intelligence analyst, that Sarah Gamm, who knows exactly what she's looking at and what she speaks of. So this is right over the Capitol building of the United States, and I think it's something else. Now, of course, anytime you air footage like anything like this, you're going to have people that are going to be impressed. You're going to have people that are going to be a little bit let down. And JP, what are your thoughts? And again, this is not vetted, but this came from people that really know what they're doing, because this is kind of part of what they do in government in terms of intel, science, and defense. JP, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's right, Matt. I mean, I see this type of activity phenomena very often, and I've just given up recording it because it's never going to be conclusive or good enough for some people. And to be honest, it's not about proving to anybody what may or may not be real, but it's interesting. And I see this kind of these lights or spherical activity very often over here in Mauritius, and there is often a coincidence with events or relevant things that are happening in your personal life or your professional life, and it seems very fitting that they should be gathered together as a group just in front of Capitol Hill, and then these lights or objects or whatever they are show up. And yeah, you're right, Matt. It reminds us of the July 1952 flyby that happened. And that was, famous, and there was sort of like triangular formations of these lights. But I'm also drawn to the fact that our friend Dr. Beatrice Villarroel has found a connection between that 1952 or July 52 flyover and these so-called transients that appear on astronomical plates that are inexplicable. In other words, they're there 1 minute, and then 30 minutes later, they're no longer there on the next plate recording or photograph that's been taken. So it's Washington, D.C. has a history of this, and so does the Kremlin over in Russia. And of course, Russia was treated by the Witness journalist George Knapp earlier this morning over in Washington. So it's a nice coincidence or synchronicity, even if ever there was one.
Yeah, I would agree. And as I've mentioned on the show before, I have seen these things myself many times. They've appeared above my home well over probably now about a dozen times. And and we actually just got a message from Ross. He said, "Hi Matt, I'm sorry mate, I'm so brain dead. I've got to be up in 2 hours for a Cuomo who's doing a pre-record. So apologies, won't be able to make it. It's 3:40 in the morning in Australia where I am." And Ross, absolutely no worries. I know how that goes, and I think I failed when I was listing other journalists. I think I failed to mention Ross as one of the other handful of journalists that are actually doing good work in this space. But again, one thing I want to point out with this video is this wasn't like viewed by one or two people. This entire group experienced these orbs. This entire group experienced these orbs, and totally something else.